Hey, it's me, your boy Blue Gantz again. Today we'll be talking about the new Yubel cards.
You're late.
Yeah, I know I'm late. Anyways, let's get started. Also, yeah, they're coming out in the next set. Gotta mention that. Anyways, let's get started. First off, we have Spirit of Yubel, and it's a level 10 Dark Fiend effect monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. First effect reads, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand. Second effect, if this card is special summoned, you can take one spell/trap from your deck that mentions Yubel and either add it to your hand or set it. Pretty nice. Also, this obviously is a reference to the previous set, because the previous set we got a retrain of Neos, and now in this set we have a retrain of Yubel. Anyways, the third effect reads, cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card, which is really nice, especially when you combo it up with the first effect. So if your opponent goes in for an attack, you can special summon this, and you don't have to worry about taking damage or dying that turn. Fourth effect reads, if this card is destroyed, you can special summon one of your Yubel that is banished or in your hand, deck, or graveyard. So that's pretty nice, because if they actually manage to get rid of it, you can just special summon a Yubel. And Yubel is almost as good. Next off, we have Geist Grinder Golem, which is a retrain of Grinder Golem, and it's a level 8 Dark Fiend effect monster with 3000 attack and 300 defense. First effect reads, you can reveal one Yubel monster in your hand, special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field, then you can special summon the revealed monster to your field. So you can just reveal Yubel, summon this to your opponent's side of the field, then special summon the Yubel from your hand. And then you can just proceed to ruin your opponent's day. Second effect reads, once per turn during damage calculation, if this card battles a Yubel monster, your opponent gains 3000 life points. But again, it's on your opponent's side of the field, so you're gaining 3000 life points. And the third effect reads, if you special summon Yubel while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card to your opponent's side of the field. So even if it's in your graveyard, you can still basically use it to ruin your opponent's day. Next, we have Samsara Regenerating Lotus. Speaking of, I'm not sure why Samsara Lotus ever went back to 3 or even got on ban to begin with, but okay, Konami. Anyways, it's a level 1 Dark Fiend effect monster with 0 attack and 0 defense. Its first effect reads, you can contribute this card, special summon one Yubel monster from your deck. Pretty nice.
For realsies!
Second effect, during your opponent's turn, when a monster effect is activated while you control a Yubel monster. Quick effect, you contribute this card, then that effect becomes destroy one Yubel monster on the field, which is pretty nice because it basically just allows you to float using Yubel's effect. And the third effect reads, during your end phase, if you control a Yubel and this card is in your graveyard, you can take this card, either add it to your hand or special summon it. Again, really great because you can just use its first effect to special summon another Yubel, but I'm not sure why you want to do that since you already have a Yubel on the field. Or you could actually just use the second effect to have both this card and a Yubel on the field just to mess with your opponent. Next, for the fusion monster, we have Yubel das Ewig Liebe Watcher, and Liebe is, I think, is German for love, and I only know that because I really like Black Clover a lot.
It's crazy. That's crazy that you thought I would give a flying.
Anyways, it's a level 12 Dark Fiend effect monster with also is a fusion monster. I'm not sure why they didn't mention that. And it has 0 attack and 0 defense, and its material requires one Yubel monster, so it doesn't have to specifically be Yubel. And one or more effect monsters on the field, so amazing super poly target. First effect reads, if this card is fusion summoned, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each fusion material used for its summon. Ouch. Second effect reads, cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. Also, you take no battle damage from battles involving this card. That's pretty good. And the third effect reads, if this card battles an opponent's monster at the end of the damage step, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's attack, and if you do, banish it.
Nice!
Next, for the spells, we have Nightmare Pain, and it's a continuous spell card, and its first effect reads, during your main phase, you can destroy one dark monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add one Yubel or one card that mentions it from your deck to your hand, except Nightmare Pain. Pretty nice. And the second effect reads, while you control any Yubel monsters, all monsters your opponent controls must attack them, if able. So basically, it just allows you to make your opponent punish themselves. And the third effect reads, your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken from battles involving your Yubel monsters. And this may sound like a strange thing, and I thought it was pretty strange too when I first read it, but even if you don't take battle damage due to Yubel's effect, you're still technically taking damage. It is weird. So in a way, if Yubel's on the field, you can basically inflict damage to your opponent and also inflict damage with this card.
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that.
I'm not entirely sure how it works, but I think DPYGO went over it. He might actually know better than I do, so I'm just going to refer to him. Next and lastly, for the spell cards, we have Mature Chronicle, and it's a continuous spell card. Its first effect reads, each time a Yubel monsters or a monsters that mentions Yubel is special summoned, which is actually going to be quite a bit, given how the retrain of Grinder Golem works. You can place one Chronicle counter on this card. Second effect reads, you can remove up to 5 Chronicle counters from this card you control to activate one of these effects. The first option reads, special summon one Yubel from your graveyard. Second option reads, add one of your banished cards to your hand. Third option reads, you can banish one card from your deck. Okay. The fourth option reads, you can destroy one card on the field. And the fifth option reads, you can add one Super Poly from your deck to your hand. That option is pretty nice, but it does require you removing 5 Chronicle counters. I get it, it's supposed to be a reference to the anime, but I don't think it's worth... Like, this card is, like, alright. It's not amazing, but it's not bad either. Anyways, next and lastly, we have Eternal Favorite, and it's a continuous trap card, and its first effect, its first and only effect reads, once per turn you can activate one of these effects, but you can only use each of the following effects of this card's name once per turn. First option reads, special summon one of your Yubel monsters that is banished or in your graveyard. Neither player can activate cards or effect when it's special summoned. Pretty nice. And the second option reads, if you control Yubel, you can discard one card and send this face-up card from your spell and trap zone to the graveyard. Then you can fusion summon one Yubel monster from your extra deck using monsters on either field as material, including a Yubel monster. Which is pretty nice because it basically just acts as a Super Poly. So even if you don't draw your Super Poly, you can just use this trap card instead, and then just fusion summon with your opponent's field. Which is pretty nice because the fusion doesn't really have a cap on how many monsters you need to use for its fusion summon. Bare minimum, you just need one. So if your opponent just has a field full of monsters, yeah, it's over. Anyway, tell me what you guys think about these new Yubel cards, and it's been me, your boy Blagetska, and I'm wondering when Yubel Mastery will ever come back to YouTube. And I'm out.
Later, losers.